Hey, my Shuga Bears, welcome back to my channel, Bougie AF. It's your host, Nicole. It's where I say stay bougie on them. It's me feeding you feminism for the soul. It's my soul food offering. It's where I apply pressure to issues by being critical and logical. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, let's get to the commentary, where I can guarantee you I will be doing too much, because that's just me. And like Sheree said, who's gonna check me, boo?
Welcome, Black y'all. You are tuned in to the Bougie AF channel, and it's your girl, Nicole, where I say stay bougie on them, and I am serving you feminism for the soul. Okay, so you can check me out on Instagram at BougieAF_ish, also on Twitter at I'm_bougie_AF. So listen, let's get into it. So I always talk about a little bit of a conversations that I overhear on Clubhouse, right? So listen, I use my Clubhouse and my Instagram as a way to kind of, on Instagram, the Instagram that is, it's linked to my Clubhouse. And so I like to kind of get my thoughts and opinions on different rooms that I've been in. And so that's all I use that for. Yeah, thoughts and opinions on different rooms that, maybe I didn't go up on stage and share or talk. Because a lot of times I don't feel like it. And that's just that. I'm really good with just listening and learning that way. Anyway, so that's what I use that Instagram for. And y'all should know by now, my Twitter is Dear Diary all over the place, just talking about whatever I want, whatever feelings, whatever thoughts, anything that, it's just my way of expressing myself, and that's that. What else? Yeah, so, check me out on them platforms. I follow back, just let me know. All right, so I wanted to get into a lot of the conversation for the past couple of days has been about Black Lives Matter. And if you've been paying attention, then you know that I have done videos about this in the past, where I talked about Shaun King and I talked about Black Lives Matter. I talked about visiting their website and just being really underwhelmed and really feeling like it was really sketchy. I also brought up another charity, another organization, and was just, comparing how, like, it just didn't seem transparent. Of course, I'm Black as F, but I'm also not dumb as fuck, right? So with that being said, if something doesn't look like, if it doesn't look legit, and as a citizen of this country, that concerns me, right? And I think, I remember tweeting when Joe Biden got into office. They were upset because they wouldn't sit down with them and kind of legitimize them, right? That's literally what they were looking for. And I knew that then. I think I even made a video. I mean, y'all, some of the shit is just repeating for me, but but I remember feeling like they can't. And I was like, why wouldn't he sit down with them? We just went through this and we had all of this success in terms of recognition or acknowledgement of a disparity in how Black people are being treated, right? A re-acknowledgement, right? Because we continue to keep having to re-acknowledge that Black Americans are, getting the raw deal of all of this, right? So with that being said, I remember thinking, like, why doesn't he want to sit down with them? And I remember having thoughts of like, so I go to the website and I start looking around. And I start to feel uncomfortable. Like, I'm uncomfortable. They're not transparent. They're not keeping it live. Like, they're not having live updates to the website. It's not like, you could be on the website and there was a straight march the night before, right? They went out and protest the night before. And there's no updates of any of that. There's no imaging of like the real deal of like, what is it that happens when they are protesting? I'm not saying bad things, but I think there's something there when you're just not putting out all of it, right? But then also, like, when you went, I think I even pulled up I forgot what charity I pulled up, but you could there was people's names, listed there. There was pictures of people. I'm talking about a different charity group, activist group. There was people's pictures listed. You could find the name of the board members, all this other stuff. Like, there was just, it felt like, okay, this is not sketchy. I mean, if you went to the Black Lives Matter website, it's like, drop us a message in case we. It felt like, I'm paraphrasing, for the sake of just entertainment, but it felt like they was like, drop the dime. It felt like they were asking people to drop a dime on situations of anything that you may feel that Black Lives Matter needs should anything that you feel that should be brought to their attention. It was sort of like, drop that dime, or you feel like there are things being said that probably needs correction, drop a dime. And it's just like, well, that's sketchy. That's sketchy to me. Who am I dropping a dime to, right? And how y'all handling? Y'all pulling up? Y'all pulling up? But also, when looking at that, I also started to think about some experiences I was having, right? Some things I had recently, I started seeing online in terms of people. And I think at the time, Wendy Williams and her, her Wendy Williams' husband's having a child. I'm hearing stories how nurses are calling bloggers and giving them information. And I'm just giving you all this information so I can help you understand like why I came to certain thoughts and opinions about Black Lives Matter. So you had this nurse, sliding information to bloggers allegedly and stuff like that. On top of that, I'm actually seeing in real life in certain groups that I've been in where certain individuals are like, oh, I got people at such and such hospital, right? I can get your information, right? So I'm hearing all of this going on, right? So I'm going to Black Lives Matter and I'm looking, and I keep a lot of stuff like I keep this in mind in terms of when it comes to the internet, social media and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm concerned in terms as a citizen in terms of people's access to people's information, right? And people having agendas in terms of like their personal views and stuff, and like how are they utilizing their jobs, right? Because I do think there's people accessing people's information. Like, consistently we're seeing doxing. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing doxing. We're actually seeing people brag as if though that's okay. I'm not quite sure why we're not getting, why it's not getting attention from, our Congress. Because there's something that really does need to be done, right? There needs to be a clear message. And I am talking about from updating HIPAA laws to probably include some additional stuff. Yeah, like, and that's literally how I feel. Yeah, I do. I think if you are, and this is a tough one, but I do think, yeah, this is tough. But I know it's a problem. I know it's a problem. Yeah. I do know it's a problem, and I also think that you maybe certain people, like people, should not be maybe putting your jobs on your social medias. I think across the board, I think that would be a great thing. I think if maybe you're a professor or something like that, or maybe as a doctor, but I don't think if you're not in that stature in an organization that necessarily that your job should be placed on your social media. What else? I don't know. Like I said, I'm just trying to come up with stuff, but I'm telling you, I kept that in the back of my mind when it came to Black Lives Matter. I'm having experiences with someone who lives in my city, and and the way I seen them utilize people in terms of like a flying monkey, narcissistic type of way, right? People who are willing to do anything for an organization, and I was like, well, when you sit back and think about it, we don't know who's a part of Black Lives Matter, right? I could be standing next to somebody who's actually in the party itself, like, or in the organization itself. Like, we have no, outside of these three women that are who started the organization, we have no faces to put to a lot of these people. Yes, I know people know who they are in their city, but I'm talking about in the sense of like in media terms, there's no real faces as like, who's the day in like operational leader, right? Who's planning the protest, right? Who's planning or who's coming up with the agenda, the talking points that always ended up on our news, right? That doesn't concern you? Breaking news, or we just got a press release from Black Lives Matter, and they this is what they think. And I'm like, who, which one, who is that? Is that Elise? Is that Melina? Is that Patrice? Like, who's writing these things? And how you guys all sound the same? Y'all all agree, and y'all are all on y'all all align here, but nobody knows. Nobody. I'm talking about in terms of public and seeing how people move and making sure that we see who people are, right? When you think about the KKK, what makes the KKK so dangerous, right? We don't know who they are, right? They're in our police departments. They have positions, right? And they're probably thinking about the 50s and 60s, probably misusing their positions, right? But they're able to do that in anonymity, anonymous, I guess, whatever. But they're able to do that secretly, and they're able to wreak havoc, right? Because we didn't know which congressmen, especially in southern states, and their state senators and state representatives and stuff like that. Like, you didn't know who was who, right? And so when you talk about Black Lives Matter, we knew these three women, and it was just like technology, and it is what it is. And you're talking about merch, right? You back then, If you wore a certain shirt, if you dressed a certain way as a Black Panther or any, we knew who you were with. As the NOI people, we know who you with, right? We see that bow tie. Okay, that's them people over there. I mean, even gangs. Okay, that's that red over there. All matching red. Even your socks is red. Okay, we know what that is, right? Like you have identifiers to know who people are. We didn't have any identifiers with Black Lives Matter. They served merch. Everybody had a shirt. Everybody didn't think anything of it, right? But it did a great job of implying that we have millions of people who resonate and identify with our message, but you just never know who's with them, right? I mean, you got to understand. The woman in Boston threatened the woman in Boston threatened a woman who was running against Ayanna Presley, and she threatened to have 40,000 motherfuckers on that woman's lawn. Isn't that interesting when Black Lives Matter could be weaponized in your political arenas? That's interesting, right? It's interesting when your mayor is giving her money, right? So when you see that people probably have built a database of information and organizers and protesters who know to come out when it's time and stuff like that, and they've underground built this type of infrastructure, no, your president can't sit down and talk to anonymous people. No, there's too much I don't know about you. And I understand the weight of the office in terms of being the president and what I sit down and what that means to sit down with you. I can't do that. Because as we can see, y'all are crooks. All right, let's get into the article. Oops, Black Lives Matter leaders admit to secretly buying $6 million houses with organizations' donation money. They can't cancel us. And it'd be that type of arrogance, right? That type of arrogance, knowing that it's a mind control thing, right? You can't cancel me. I'm still going to be, you may not like it. I'm still going to be out here doing me, right? Pure arrogance. Because if you were in it for the right things, you'd be heartbroken if people weren't behind you, right? If people didn't believe in you, right? And seen you as a thief, right? But legacy, Tamika Mallory. Neighbors, this may come as no shock to some of you, but the misappropriation of BLM funds are being called into question again. The BLM leaders, Patrice Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Melina Abdullah, caused the chatter after posting a YouTube video of them sitting around a table on a patio of an expensive house in Southern California. Ain't that nice? That's some old Bel Air shit, Fresh Prince shit. Like, come on. Ironically, the trio discussed how the media has been calling their use of the funds into question. For me, the hardest moments have been the right-wing media machine just leveraging literally all its weight against me, against our movement, against the organization. Color said, I'm some weeks out now from a lot of the noise, so I have more perspective, right? While I was in it, I was in survivor mode. According to the oh, I hate when people use like certain words that are just mean so much for people who are just experiencing so much difficulty, right? When you hear survivor, you're thinking of somebody who's experiencing a lot of difficulty, right? And when she uses survivor, we're talking about her probably sitting in $1 million home and living in luxury, and she's talking about she's surviving. And that's where it becomes like, you're sneaky as fuck. That's why I like to kind of dumb it down a little bit. I like to dumb it down a lot of bit when I talk. Because I understand when I listen to certain people like this, that when they're playing with certain words, they know what they're doing. Like when Candace Owens calls Will Smith a thug. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing, right? So you pay attention to the words, because there's just, there's other words that can be used, but you were surviving because people were questioning your activity in terms of like how you were doing your job. What you said was your job and what you said you were doing. How does that mean? Like, why are you surviving? Like, you should be able to pull out them Excel spreadsheets and this was added here, this calculation, this formula was here, page 1, 2, 3 of all the years you were active. Like, we should be able to see some checks and balances, right? Then bank statements should be what it is. Money should still be in the bank. because we don't see the tangibles within our communities. And I know I was in a room last night and somebody was like, well, you know that over 30 organizations they donated to. Again, the way this works, you have your cash intake and then you have what goes out. Once you add in whatever the calendar year you're using, right? Whatever, like, and when I'm at work, what do they say? Your fiscal year, whatever your fiscal year is, right? There's numbers that represent everything that you take out, right? And then there are numbers that represent everything that went out, right? And so the way this works, these balance each other out, right? To answer for what has happened to these funds. And then once you pay your overhead of staff and maybe your costs, insurances, like once you pay all of your expenses, right? Your salaries. If y'all taking salaries, right? That got to be in there too. Once you pay all of that, there's a number at the end, right? Right. So we just want to know what's the numbers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because all of this, like all this conversation of the pressure and stuff like that, we don't need none of that. You actually don't need to speak. You can actually just email that over to me and everything should just clear and wash itself out. Because that's how money works. Yeah, it does. I mean, that's a basic view of it. But in terms of when you're talking about expenses and seeing things go in and out for every line item, for everything spent, yeah. With every budget, all of that is there's records for all of that stuff. And I'm not going to give them the out by saying that maybe they weren't educated in those type of matters, like as if though they know that. Because let me tell you something, baby. Miss Patrice Cullors is what they say. She is a graduate of the University of California, Los Angeles, and then people Southern California, right? So with that being said, she's an artist. She's an artist. She's a writer and stuff like that. Very well educated. And you know what I'm telling you? Not to say that everybody knows everything. That's impossible. That's actually really dumb. But that's impossible. There's no way that everybody knows everything. But when you are educated in a way, you know what you don't know, and you find people to do what you don't know, and you learn that shit, right? So that's just not an excuse at certain levels, right? Because this is the same type of education that would sit in clubhouse rooms and allude to them being all this educated and much more sophisticated and more well structured in terms of like their education and being able to apply it in business, right? There's all these, elitist type of views that come from this type of group of people. But the minute that something happens, they go, I'm black and I know the least. No, you're not buying that. You a fucking thief. According to a report by Telligencer, little digging revealed that the property was purchased for nearly $6 million in cash in October 2020. Okay, right. So that's the year that George Floyd got killed. He got killed in June of 2020. So this is after June they bought this safe house. Okay, good. With money that had been donated, June or May, I believe, because I know June or May, donated to BLM, GNF, a transaction that was not previously reported after being questioned. It was not previously reported after being questioned. The organization claimed the house will be referred to as campus and is an influencer house. I'm sorry, because this shit is like they making this shit up. So you know how like I feel like I'm coming up with shit to say to like what it is. You know how you have that, you start talking slow. Well, I think what I'm trying to say, that's how this is reading to me. And isn't it because they don't even go together. All right, wait. The organization claimed the house will be referred to as a campus and is an influencer house. What the fuck is an influencer house? That's why that shit was weird. Is an influencer house where artists will collaborate and produce a abolition-based content. They also described it as a safe house for leaders. This is a bit of a shocking. This is a bit shocking considering there are a few mothers of black children whose lives were taken, such as Breonna Taylor's, who have accused the organization of profiting off their children's death and not giving them a penny. Thoughts? And she's absolutely right. Y'all remember when them people's Portia and Tamika Mallory flew to them people's Kentucky to be out there, and then the organizers came out and said they just show up, right? We have this already be scheduled to do, and then all of a sudden Tamika Mallory and people show up with cameras and stuff to catch a moment to act like they've been down they like since their grandfather and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people who just know how to utilize certain moments that pop up in society. Yeah, that's what them people be doing. That's what that Tamika Mallory was doing, right? Like, we just gonna call it is what it is. All right, so let me see what my co-hosts in the comments are saying. Sis at the head of the table is just stuffing her face off the funds. I hope all of this is alleged because gluttony is a sin as well. That is from the Little Mo show. Gluttony is a sin, and this is the hard thing. It's like we're all, y'all know I believe in God, but I understand that everybody is just different for everybody. And whether or not even these people believe in sin, you don't even be knowing. These folks is just doing them. Okay? That's why I don't donate to shit. No, facts. It's hard. And I was in Clubhouse last night and I went on stage and I was talking about, like, this does harm. Like, and when I hear people offer excuses for this type of bullshit with saying, well, they stole from white people and stuff like that. Or even like me, y'all know when I did the Miss Tina Knowles video and she was talking about, we can't let this slide and we got to do something for this. Like, we're not trying to take legitimacy from our movements, right? Legitimacy from, what we're saying, what our experiences are, right? And so when you have individuals like a Jussie Smollett, or you have individuals, and I'm going to say Chris Rock, because I went back and watched that 2016 not I heard what he said in 2016, and outside of that Jada shit, I don't think black folks should be playing with the concept of like lynching, right? But when you see individuals who will take something that is so serious, the Jussie Smollett's, the Monica Cannon Grants, and just these individuals and play with it for their own selfish greed, they do harm to the message. And Black Lives Matter, and I've always said I don't fuck with the Incorporated, but they've done harm to what that message was supposed to stand for, right? So I gave the example of how, like, in my city, if you know, traditionally, Fenway and that organization, was alleged to have a lot of sentiments of being, like, racist, right? Not a lot of black people, evolve around the organization type of fields, allegedly. I weren't there, so we're going to say allegedly on all of this shit. But anyway, so it was a really big deal for us to see this Black Lives Matter sign down there. It was a great sign for inclusivity, right? Because, in that area is a very expensive area, right? And it caters to, it caters to the Northeastern crowd. It caters to the college crowd, basically, that generally spend a lot of money to be in that area, to be honest with you, right? So to see that there was really good. So you feel how you feel about it. I liked it, and I think a lot of people in my city liked it too. But because of all of this, and in terms of like all of Black Lives Matter coming across as some type of big scam, people stopped supporting the organization behind it. They didn't want to see it. They didn't believe in the message, right? They think it's a scam. They think people just used it to make money. They made all that noise. And for what? You didn't do anything in your communities, right? And so, I don't know why black people just think, oh, white people have money to just fucking give you. Right? Like that. I think that's what it is. Like, niggas think people got money to give them. And I don't even want to say niggas, but like, and I feel this with something with my own. Nobody has money to give you. And how you go about getting that money matters. And even if it's $20, I donate it to you, right? That's $20 fucking dollars that I earned. And if you lie to me to get it, I'm gonna feel some sort of way. That's not a black or white thing. So no, as if y'all want to talk about white people, it's just white people's money and all this other stuff. Like I said, this is a real thing. This is what I'm hearing. I've heard it in the rooms, right? White people do the same type of crimes. They have organizations. I heard all of that. And with that being said, they're going to get mad at any organization that steals their money too. But nobody's going to feel good about your message after you just stole money from me. And you got to say steal money. You have to say steal money. There's no way you can walk or try to sugarcoat that motherfucking shit, because didn't nobody give you their $20, let you hold their $20 for you to do you? Boo. Didn't nobody do that. So you stole. Monica, you stole. Nobody was investing in you. Nobody donated for y'all. Don't lie to me and tell me to feel good about you lying to me because your life has changed. I'm gonna want my 20 back. Because you don't do it like that. This is not the good hustle. And this is the shit that's glorified and respected. And I said this. There's some people who respect all types of hustle, no matter how you get it. And it just seems like, and it's bad. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. It's bad. It's the reason why people go out here and commit crime. It's the reason why people will kill their best friends. Let's talk about it. And when I'm talking about kill their best friend, I'm talking about like hustle, right? Kill your competition and stuff like that. It's the reason why people think that mentality and they go about doing what they got to do because they doing what they got to do to get ahead, right? It's a part of the hustle. Right? So when we're on Clubhouse or in society in general, we're making room for women and people to put themselves out there in a way that is dangerous. And I'm talking about these young girls who want to be flown all over the country and meeting random men and stuff like that. And when we making women like that feel like they're boss bitches, right? I hear it. I see it. You're making women feel like they're boss bitches for selling their ass but ending up dead. But she was doing what she had to do when she was good and alive because that's a part of the hustle. And now when she's dead, behind that hustle that y'all said and y'all co-signed and y'all were okay with it, that was just some whole ass shit. She should have been out there, right? Your hustle didn't work now. I'm just talking about dysfunction. I'm getting to it. I'm just talking about dysfunction that's been normalized. It's a part of the hustle. And like I said, I'm doing all of this to talk about how certain aspects within our community that's not, it doesn't have to all be street, right? This is not street. We talking about corporate hustling. We talking about charity hustling. She's getting to the bag. Their families are secure. And that's all that matters for some people. Right. So like I said, we're not all the same type of black, and that's just fine. I don't wish you I don't wish you bad, but you can't come sit with me with janky ass mentality and ways of looking at life and how you operate. I pay close attention to that. You scare me. You scare me that you could make an excuse for or you could say that these individuals, and there was people in rooms I was in last night that made it seem like these individuals had pressure on them that caused them to do what they did, like white supremacy type of pressure, right? Like it's just crazy. It's just freaking crazy, the excuses that people will come up with for the people they like, right? So that's why I'm unapologetically saying, if something I don't like, I just don't fucking like it and keep it moving, because you niggas are picking and choosing on what's good and what's not. This is disgusting, and it does harm. That's my original point. I wonder if I said this does harm. So that mural will come down because people didn't want to buy the tickets anymore. And people don't believe the messages. So when I'm going in different rooms and hearing different white people talk, and they're having a hard time understanding what racism is, and really feeling like that we are suffering, their counterpoints are things like, well, why are you guys stealing from each other? Why are you guys not doing what you said you were going to do with the money and fix your communities? Huh? You're buying $6 million houses. That's what the fuck we get. That type of conversation. All right, so let's see what my co-hosts have to say. They can't cancel us. Someone said, want to bet. I hear you. Make it very uncomfortable. We're not going to pussyfoot around it. We're not going to have light language for this type of fucking behavior. We're not going to do that. This just pissed me off. This is why they talk bad about us. Exactly. Shaking my head. Because they look at it as if though, like, one of the things I'm consistent of always bringing up from the 70s, and that I think people should go back and just look at those black exploitation movies. Not to say that I'm saying they have high quality of content and, deep dives. But I think when you see how people see you and what they're willing to put on the screen to represent you, they're letting you know how they see you. That's not rocket science. That's not new. So the consistent theme when I'm watching some of those black exploitation movies was that we were lazy in some type of way. We always wanted some type of handout. Right? Looking for the government to do something. So it's consistent themes that kept coming up, right? Or that we were always on the hustle. Thinking of new schemes and new things to get ahead. Not the good hustle, the bad hustle. Y'all know what I'm talking about? The examples I've been giving, the bad hustle. Right? So, consistency, and most definitely they did a good job with, talking about these race hustlers in the 70s in those films. But These are consistent themes that were, shown in these movies. Drug dealing, gangs, violence. Consistently is what they showed, what they thought of us, right? So when you see them say, this is why they think that we're nothing but thieves, or that we're always trying to hustle, and that we're not really about the community like we claim, these are the examples they use. It can't be that bad if somebody is, stealing from their own people that they swear they love so much, that they giving back so much to. Exactly why I don't follow these organizations or donate. I just don't. I don't. I just don't, and I'm not apologetic about it. I like to give money as I feel like it. I like to donate my time. Of course, I give money to bums. Like, I like to do things like that, but I refuse to be a part of people, hustling off of race and stuff like that. Excuse me? They can't cancel us. Like, just to think you got that much control over motherfuckers that you feel like you can't be canceled. And I guess so, because them two, gang members, and I was calling them the hustling dolls last night, in the clubhouse room, because when they were people who were caping for them, of course, other women were caping for them. Yeah, it sounds like, oh, y'all are part of the hustling dolls? Gang, 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 gang. Pressure. Don't fall for the white man tactics. This is their narrative. Like, we can't do that, right? Well, there's no way in hell that we can sit up here and just say that this is some grand old plot to take these people down. That we just can't do that. Why did they donate it to them to take them down? Like, that's just, this is the white man angry. The same white man that donated. And you gotta watch these people, because they'll talk all this shit and have you all heated at white people, want you to go be out there, being as pro-black, and, want you to associate with all black people, buy black, all this black, and this black, and they be married to them, right, y'all. They be married, they be best friends with them on the low, they be learning all they can get, they be having them a good white person in their corner. Hey, and trying to block you for a good white person from your corner. Meanwhile, telling you how to be hateful. Yeah, motherfucker. Better stop listening to these people. Y'all better stop listening to these people. I don't walk around thinking all white people are racist. I don't walk around thinking all white people have an agenda to make life hard for black people. I don't walk around doing that. I'm a black woman that has an experience in America, so I know that there's good and there's bad, right? But I do talk in terms of generalizations, because, we still going through. And while we still going through, that's just how I have to talk. But I still got to look at these witches and look at them and be like, oh, y'all run a game, because I know y'all friends with white people. I know y'all in business with white people, while stoking the anger in the less educated and then less, people with less access. Because it'd be people with college degrees, and that doesn't mean that you have had access to different social class to be around them, right? That doesn't mean you have that. And I'm aware of that even more now. Even more now. Right? Education in terms of, like, if you went to universities, especially down south and stuff like that, and you've been in predominantly black areas, I'm quite aware, and I'm not saying it as a dig or anything like that. I'm quite aware of, that there's just certain people within our community who have had access to different social circles on how they play with this pro-black shit while still being in community with white people. Right? And so there are also people who also went to college that have not had access to those different types of social circles because doors being shut on them. And so for me, that's what this comes across as, right? Make y'all all angry, but we still, we good. Y'all better stop listening to these people. Stop giving them your money. Y'all better start looking at people like, I don't know you. So what you about? What's your plan? How you, like, where your mama and them live? Where you from? Get real familiar with people when they get in your face trying to get something up out of you. You better know them. But give me your mama number. Let me call her. See what she like. See what, what type of fruit you fall from. What type of tree you fall from. Facts. You ask me for money. I want to see. Listen, and I'm telling y'all the God honest truth. I had somebody asking me for money and I said, oh, no, 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 no. You don't start hanging out with somebody asking for money. What do I look like, a lame? Okay. All right, so let's get to these comments. Y'all ever looked into the CEOs of Black Lives Matter org? Nothing but a bunch of Johns and Uncle Toms. That's why I was looking to see. Before I started this video, I looked to see. I was like, I want to make sure these are Black American people. Like, what's going on here? Also, I can see it right there. Elisa Garza. 'Cause I did read an article that I read an article that she wrote, and she's real fiery and really resents being questioned, right? One of that's this type, and you can see this coming across in that quote. They can't cancel us. Like, really resents people being questioned. Really feels as though I've done the work, and how dare you question me, and blah 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 blah. And just really, doesn't want, there's no reproach when it comes to her. It seems like in the article that I read and how she was addressed, and I even think I watched the video, but it was felt like, how dare you? Some people think they've ascended to places in society, or I guess, and feel like they've done so much that to question them, or to question what they've done, is a sign of disrespect, right? That's ego, that's narcissism. Like, what do you mean I can't question you? Like, why can't I? Like, why? Who's you? Who's you? You done peddled yourself out here, peddling for money, and then feel like niggas can't ask you a question? What you do with the money? And when you talk about work that you've done, I'm sorry, I'm not. I don't have to respect hustle. I don't have to respect you. Like, work like what? Work like what? Y'all were going to protest, and y'all were collecting money at the same time, and we have not seen y'all out there in quite a we ain't seen y'all out there in a bit. So y'all pushing paper, pushing numbers, pushing keyboards. Like, that's what y'all doing. Y'all pushing keyboards and feeling like motherfuckers can't question you. Okay, not the America we live in. Let's keep going. They all do all races. So stop saying they make us look bad. No, not me. I ain't do that shit. No, make us look bad. I don't know any. It's hard being white. Donate to me charities, right? I don't know any charities that are designated for like the white community, that's designated for the white plight. Like, do you know any of them? So yes, we can feel like they make us look bad because they're doing it in the name of us. Like, what is niggas talking about? It's not a protect all lives organization. It's protect a specific group of people, and then we can most definitely speak up and say, I don't like that shit. I'm starting to see why a lot of why a lot of white people were saying that Black BLM movement was halfway bullshit. You just now starting to see it. I need people to get their analyticals and start thinking a little bit. Like, what's the plan? What are you trying to do? Like, things have clear mission statements, and you got to make sure that it aligns. I literally just had this conversation yesterday with somebody in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement and the woman who established the Violence in Boston organization. And one of the things I said to him, I said, it's so crazy. As much as we know people get away with, stealing or making money through these charities and these what is it, 501(c)(3)s. As much as we know that, what jammed the woman up in Boston was how her mission statement was off to what she said she was doing in reality, in terms of, like, you're in our city and you're yelling at our Black police chief. Where's the pro-Black in that, right? Because we know how violence happens, right? And we know how much police can really do in stopping it. But anyway, I digress. So you yelling at other Black people, right? You're making it harder for other Black people. um you don't have any real critique or any real insight on how to stop the violence, right? You're just being loud, the loudest in the room, right, to bring attention to an already bad situation that you necessarily aren't helping to make better, while still getting money and getting on video camera talking about fuck the police. You better be glad. Like, did you not think they were gonna look at you? Like, I'm just sorry, I'm talking about the woman in Boston, right? Did she not think they were gonna look at her? But that's dangerous. That is just so freaking dangerous to me. What the fuck is a safe house? An influencer home? Like, so what they so and that's that manipulative thing that I told y'all Jussie did, like, making it seem as if though, like, so organizers need to escape from their cities and towns because what? Who's coming after them in their cities and towns? Or could they not just even maybe just 2 towns over? Would it get better? They need a whole $6 million mansion to come up with content? So are we gonna have like a real world, Black Lives Matter house or something? Like, I'm just confused. Like, everybody gonna be living in a house coming up with content? That's weird. This is weird. Okay, let me see what else is out there. in terms of the Black Lives Matter and people's opinions about that. I think I'm just gonna make this video about that. All right. Black Lives Matter. There's so much different stuff out here. Okay, so here goes another. This is the shade room. Oh, let's read about the house. According to the news, according to the new shocking report from NY Mag, the three leaders of Black Lives Matter, Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Melina Abdullah, recorded a video last summer that has recently come to light. In the video, the women are sitting outside the undisclosed $6 million mansion as they marked the first anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. They marked the first anniversary with a private celebration in a $6 million home. Nothing for the family. You didn't throw nothing. Patrisse, you didn't throw them nothing, girl. You from them people, California. You didn't throw them nothing. You grew up in that Section 8, girl. You know I know. You know I know, girl. You ain't cut them. You ain't break them off of nothing, Patrisse. Girl, you stingy. You greedy. You couldn't break them off of nothing. You out here eating off these people's dead people, and you comfortable? You think you real comfortable? Oh, girl. The 6,500 square foot estate has over 6 bedrooms and bathrooms, multiple fireplaces, a pool, and parking for more than 20 cars. The home was reportedly purchased back in 2022 with funds that had been donated to Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. It was purchased by Diane Pascal 2 weeks after Black Lives Matter received 66.5 million from its fiscal sponsor. Pascal is the financial manager for Janaea and Patrisse's consulting, an LLC operated by Patrisse Cullors and her spouse, Janaea Khan. Ownership of the property was then transferred to an LLC in Delaware, which ensured that the property's owner wouldn't be revealed. According to the organization, its purpose is to provide a safe house for Black Lives Matter activists, as well as serve as a studio for creating abolition-based content. Niggas can work on Zoom. You can work on Zoom. Niggas can literally work on Zoom together if it's like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Oh my God, girl. Patrisse, girl. Shit, they said they Black Lives Matter a little bit more. That's exactly what they said. Oh, who's that from? Los Angeles Confidential. That's The Game. Nigga, go sit down somewhere. Nobody give a fuck about what you think. Like, I'm sorry. I thought the founders were white for some reason. What is supposed to be using her 25% for? It be your own people. It be your own people. Like, girl, you know you could break niggas off and you decided not to. Oh, selfish ass. So basically, only her Black Life Matter, her Black Life and her family. Yes, that's how nepotism and everybody associated. Yes, that's how that works, black people. Y'all see when Donald Trump and Melania, whatever her name is, was getting out in people's White House and how many 501(c)(3)s and charities and all that shit they were doing and moving money and stuff like that. Yes, y'all better get with it. Shaking my head. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, so many of the victims who they were marching for, families received nothing. She had a whole celebration, private celebration. Didn't you? Like, why not just bring the families out? Why didn't you bring the families out? Why not bring out the families? Why not work with the families and try to help them? Right? Any of that? No? We don't do that, Patrisse? Laugh out loud. This is why they can never take us serious. Exactly. Sad. It ain't never no good news about BLM. Damn. It be your own people. Be your own people. All right, so I mean that's the sentiments out here regarding Black Lives Matter. They are scammers, been scammers, and it just is what it is. And I don't know how people got fooled by that BS. All right, so that's all I got for y'all. You know how I say here, keep it posh as F, keep it black as F, keep it bougie as F. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I am out. Mwah. Kisses.